Hey, I see you. I see you, fat boy.
Also on the beat.
We're gonna be rolling in a few seconds. Everybody. We're gonna be rolling in a few seconds. Fat boy, I see you. I'm gonna have you. What up with it? We're gonna be rolling in a few seconds.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay then.
What up, fat boy? I see you.
Not much, man. I had this little prank.
Yeah. Oh, yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Man, this is our podcast. Speak on it, our weekly podcast on Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Man, we're gonna get right to it. We're gonna get right to the news. Straight head to the news, and we're gonna deal with it. They done freed Brittany Griner. Griner, the WNBA basketball player, and for a trade for a Russian arms dealer. And I'm gonna get the name in a second, but it's a relief for her to be released and headed back to the States. Now, a lot of people are just dealing with the controversy of the arms dealer, and I'm gonna get the name in a second, and we're gonna get this thing going. Man, it's been a hell of a ride, and we gonna have a good podcast this week, man. So we're gonna go ahead and make it do what it do. And this look like she flying home. She on the flight now with her wife. And for that exchange that they had to swap with convicted arms dealer. It says WNBA star has been released from a Russian detention center, President Joe Biden said Thursday. Griner was released in a prisoner swap that involved Russian arms dealer Vidok Bout. The exchange, however, did not include another American that the State Department has declared wrongfully detained, Paul Whelan. I think Paul Whelan is the individual that was convicted for having possession. I think marijuana. I have to get the facts on that, so I just don't want to quote that. But we're dealing with that, and she's headed home to her wife and to her family. She's on the flight now, and she should be home, soon. So we're just gonna pray for her, she's good that she's released. When you go over this, across the country, man, and over the world, man, you really got to know how to conduct yourself. With hashish, man, it was a small amount. Russian authorities, and they gonna have their own objections and have their own laws and rules. I know, good brother of mine, he was in the military, he was in the Marines. And he said when he touched down in Singapore, he said every country that they went to, they let them know, hey, these are the rules of this country. You get caught up, you're dealing with that, it's going to be an issue. So you need to follow the rules. And I think in Singapore, you can't have any print on your shirt of anybody. The streets are clean, so it's notoriously clean in Singapore. So following the rules and knowing that you're not in America. You just really got to follow those rules. Man, we dealing with Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders has signed a deal, $5 million a year, with the Colorado Boulder Buffaloes. He was once the head coach of Jackson State University, as a famous HBCU. I think his record was 29-5. You can kind of quote it on me. Fat boy, and kind of fact check that on me. If it's different, just let me know. He ended the season this year with a 12-0 record. I think it was 11-2 last year. So he brought Jackson State to SWAC championships in his tenure there. He's leaving and going to Boulder, Colorado, which is a predominantly white or PWI school.
Right.
Now, a lot of people, the controversy behind it is that, if he felt like he sold out. This is his, this is what he did. He's a sellout. He did this and he turned his back on HBCUs. When in fact, if you look at his record, I think he had a 4 or 5 year contract with Jackson State University to become the coach, and I think he ended 2 years earlier. It was other issues that he reported that they were stealing from him. They broken his office, stole things from him, stole and broken cars. You can see some people were doing the filming of in Jackson State, because Jackson State is in the hood. We've been to Jackson State, did security for Jackson, and Jackson State is in the hood. So they broken a lot of cars, man. It was a lot of attendants, those in attendance. They broken their cars. Also, he was having the issue with the money. It was stipulated. I think he was making $300,000 a year. This is what he did. He made $300,000 a year. Half of his salary that he had, he donated, where he gave back to gather the facility and put the facilities together. And the facilities were tremendous. If you look at it before, it looked like a prison shower. It looked like a prison shower without the shower head. And he made it possible to turn the whole program around. And this is their first time that they were undefeated. So he has a whole roster of achievements that you can't be mad at. So the issue that they also have, that he spoke from his mouth, this is not sources, this is something that's confirmed, that he raised a question in the interview. He said that his part of his deal was that he was going to get a portion or percentage off the ticket sales. So what they were doing, they was reporting to Deion that they only had in attendance 28,000 when it was more than 60,000 people. So he said that, you're saying it was 28, but it was 68,000 people. So somebody's stealing, because a portion of that money belongs to me and is affecting what I have, because you're not being truthful and honest, on the numbers that you have. So, that running through that and having his son with him, you can have a breaking point in that and dealing with that. So, it's a thing that we just have to, he's dealing with. He's going to Colorado. He's in a better situation. He's getting $5 million a year. Now, let's look at this. Jackson has an endowment of $60 million. That means money that they get from alumni, things of that nature. So in order for the program to keep moving, for the school to keep moving, they have state money, but also you have the alumni that support Jackson. And I believe it's $60 million that they get in endowment money. Boulder, Colorado get $1.2 billion in endowment from his alumni and from other sources. So they're looking at a 29 point some million dollar deal that we're gonna say 30 million. And I think it's a 5-year deal with Deion Sanders. Now his childhood friends spoke about it. He said when Deion was young, Deion always wanted to go to the next level in everything that he did. It wasn't he wanted to put the HBCU on the map, and that's what he did, because really when we were coming up, the way I knew about HBCUs was from a different world. But it wasn't widely publicized, and a lot of black people admit, outside of the South, but a lot of black people admit, some, I'm not going to say all, that they don't really watch HBCU with football because it's not really televised. He brought game day to Jackson State University in an HBCU that was unheard of. That didn't happen. He brought sponsorship. he brought a field. The field that they had, he said when they had to practice at Jackson State, they had to go to a whole nother field to practice. And the field before Deion came, the football field, it was like a sandlot football field, had holes in it, potholes and different things of that nature. So he partnered up with Walmart to give them a football field. So he did all these things for Jackson State University, yet he's a sellout. All the things that he did, all the things that he helped do, he did it. So we gotta look at the accomplishments that Deion did, and I wish him well. That he go on to where he's looking for, because he said that in his view, he feel his purpose is to help all the young people, not just black people. He want to help everybody. So I respect that in Deion Sanders. Since I've known Deion Sanders and watched him grow, he backed up everything that he said. He the one athlete that I seen that write checks and cash. Period. He done played on 5 teams, football and baseball. That's it combined, not each team, but that's combined. He played on 5 teams. He played for the Atlanta Falcons. He played for Dallas Cowboys. He played for San Francisco. I don't know the other 2, but I know he played for the Yankees. He played for the A's, I believe. So that's 5 teams. So I know, and he won 2 Super Bowls. So the man got his record is there. So and he's gifted in coaching. He has the charisma. He has the gift of coaching, and he has the football IQ to be an effective coach. He in his reports that he bring in Alabama's defensive coordinator on with his team. Now, what was the issue with the money? Is it about money? Was it about money? It got to be about money, but it wasn't all about money, because he showed that he came out of his pocket with some of the funds to help Jackson State. $5 million as opposed to $300,000. That's just like us. I know if I was making $30,000 job and a job came along to offer me $200,000 a year to work and do the same thing that I was doing, I'm going to take the job for myself and for my family. So I understand that. Also, it was really about him paying his staff. He wanted to pay his staff. Did you know that people, the staff that was with Deion, they were with him when he was coaching Pee Wee League in Dallas, Texas? And I didn't know that. I'm just finding that out. So that the people that were with him, a lot of them, they've been with Deion since day one. So he want to make sure that he take care of his people. So with the $5 million, and I think it's going to go up to 7 with added bonuses. Now, I haven't seen the details on it. We'll kind of go through that. What's up, Black?
Oh, I'm just listening. Great.
Yeah, so we'll go through that. So he's dealing. He want to make sure he take care of his staff. He want to make sure that he's taking care of his his people around him. See, in the HBCU, we are black people. He's about encouraging his black. He said, "Man, I'm black. Why would I turn my back on my own people?" But when you get stole from, you helping somebody and they stealing from you, breaking their cars. And to me, I think a lot of it was just to discourage him from being in Jackson. It could have been an undercurrent, a lot of money on the table, and he was posed a threat that he can rise up to the Power 5. Right now, he's in a Pac-12 school. That's 1-8. They got a terrible record. So we're going to really see what Deion about if he can turn this program around in Colorado. So we're going to keep that up. Go ahead, Black.
What's going to prove it is when you do that.
Right.
Then you do it again. Right. But most people just were saying that he didn't complete the contract. Right. And they just figured but they didn't know what's going on behind the scenes.
They don't know the undercurrent. Yeah, they don't
before
know
that came, that's all we knew was he leaving. you know.
Right.
And being an alumni myself, as soon as we found out that he was going to Jackson State, we all on the phone, you know, Deion, and was gonna try to catch games and all that, but
right,
the contract ended. He walked out on the contract, so that's what got a lot of them angry right now.
Yeah, it do, and it's understandable. I understand both sides. It's like a parent and mom and dad, them children growing up, and mom and dad struggling with each other, and dad found out mama cheating on it, and he can't bear it and he leaves. All the children see is that daddy left. They don't know the reason why daddy left, but they know that he left. Until they get older and understand that and see the bigger picture, they're going to always be mad at their father. And depending on the heart of the mother, we're going to see how they're really going to play out and how they're going to look at their father. So Deion left early. But it had to be something, because Deion, everything that Deion have done, he finished it. He started what he finished. Did you know that he wanted to coach in a Celebration Bowl, and the president didn't want him to coach in the Celebration Bowl? He had some ideas. Did you know that he wanted to put the HBCU in Jackson on national television? He was going to ink a deal with, I think, ESPN or one station, and the president denied him of that motion. So it was a lot of things that were going on behind the scene that we don't know nothing about. If I know my partner, let me see, Richard, they should stay single. Oh, okay, okay. We dealing with something else when we get up in the thing. I got you, Richard. But you know, it was that's what I'm looking at, because we don't know what happened behind the curtain, and he was being gracious and trying to keep it back. You know, he in bad taste to kind of talk about his job. You know how you'll be in front of your job and you don't want everybody to know the dirty laundry of your job. And I think that's what's happening right now, is that he don't want nobody to know the dirty laundry of his job. Now he's kind of parting ways. He's kind of getting information. They broke in his vehicle, broke in his office, took his phones, his credit cards. He didn't have his jewelry, got his hats, got stuff out of his while they were celebrating the game, the championship that they won. They broke. Who would be in his office at that time? Why would you even want to break into a man's office that done all of this for you, and you want to break into his office? That's the things that can hurt you. That I'm doing all this for you, and you steal from me.
That's our kind. But
you want to steal from me. What you thinking, Black?
Like I said, it's kind of mixed, because it looked like you say behind the scenes. If all behind the scenes is correct, you know, it's justifiable.
Yeah, and this coming from his mouth. It's not secondhand. It's coming from his mouth. The things I'm saying, he said it. So okay. This is not something that's speculated. You know how people give their opinion, because we want to try to avoid giving opinions. But this is something that he said out of his mouth. You know, what they said and what they did. Now, was other things about, you know, the president wanting a little bit more shine than Deion, but that can just be opinion. He didn't say that, but that's some of the speculation there. So I want to add that as well. So that's it. And Rich, he said, not to mention stadium ticket sales were coming up short. That's right, Rich. Stadium tickets, they were saying they had 28,000 sold. They knew if it was over 30,000, they knew they was obligated to pay Coach Prime. And in that contract, if they went over 30,000, they had to pay him. what they were doing, they were taking the money and just putting it in a general fund. That's what they were doing. So you know, that's just sad and a bad look for Jackson. Jackson also had an investigation of malfeasance of money in 2017. They had an issue with mismanagement of funds, and we're gonna kind of go a little deeper on that when I get some more facts. I'm not gonna go too far in that, but they had malfeasance in 2017. See, and we get the opportunity. We want to shine as HBCUs. We want to do these things, but we got to have integrity. We got to have, when you go on before the world, especially when you compete, you want to compete. This man was playing and had these children stepping up to get in the Power Fives. Now his son is the quarterback over at Colorado. So now you dealing with a Pac-12 school, and his son is going to be the quarterback at a Pac-12 school. That's how real this is. So we gotta understand the reality in which we're doing and why he's doing what he's doing, because he's looking out for his family. He's looking out for himself, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. You got to look out for yourself. You want to do for your people, but in his position, that man came there. You got to keep your word. And he's saying you got to finish what you started. He want to do that, but when you make the job hard for him and when you stealing from him, you stealing from him. He brought his son with him. Both of his sons. Put his children in danger, so the man gonna do what he gotta do to take care of his family. So that's the thing I gotta say. What you got, Black?
You're right. I mean, if you look at it monetary wise,
Yeah,
you know, he got to take care of his family himself. He just had surgery on his foot. So, you know, I mean, for elevation, I feel like he got something to prove and he got a long road ahead of him.
right.
But I wish him well.
Right. And I think you know, just with his track record, man, and what he's done, you know, Coach gonna be all right. You know, I think Coach gonna take care of the business and do what he gotta do. He motivate me, man. I look at his stuff on Facebook. He motivate me, man. This is, you know, and I respect Coach Prime. So, and it's just a lot of things, man, that I respect about him. You know, he just keep doing his thing. You know, he didn't let his foot affect him. They had to amputate some of his toes, cut a chunk of his leg off because he had blood clots in his leg. But he kept at it, and that's what he loved to do, is help people. And that's what I've known him to do. You know, in his personal life, I don't know him personally, but you can kind of look at the product of a man through his children and how his children turned out. And they turned out okay. So, you know, and we working with that. So we're going to keep y'all posted on that, man. So tonight, we're going to talk about, what we talking about, Black?
Should you take a break in between dating?
Should you take a break in between dating?
Or should you just go on to the next?
Man, I think that people, for me personally, I think you have to go. You really just gonna have to take a break. Some people will get in and out of relationships. They call it what those psychologists call it. They call it monkey branching, because you getting in and out, you swinging on one relationship, you getting on the next. You get out of one relationship, you swinging on the next. And a lot of times, I think it takes some healing for you to once you get out of a relationship, it's kind of take a break from it. So, I mean, what's your experience in it, man?
It depends. A lot of people be in relationships that they know they shouldn't be in.
Right.
And if it's easy for them to move on, 9 times out of 10, they already kind of had somebody.
Right.
And somebody in mind.
Right.
You know, but taking off from dating will give you time to get that person out of your system completely, because you don't want to be going into another relationship and still got the drama from the previous relationship.
Right. What's up, Jay?
What's going on?
Awesome.
Man, good. What's going
What
on?
it
What's
do?
going
What
on?
it do?
Yeah. So you saying they should take a break?
It depends. If that
Okay.
person that they were with, if they're still hooked on them, in love with them, but just angry because we're apart, that's gonna make it, real rough for the next person that's in line to date.
Right. I understand that. That's understandable. Jay, what you thinking? How long is a waiting period when you
You
break up
know,
with someone?
it there is no set period. Whenever you feel like it's time, then move on. Now, if you're still having some emotions behind this other person, then of course maybe you should be a little bit more cautious with trying to move around. But somebody said that the best way to get over somebody is getting onto somebody else, which I don't agree with.
Right.
Because that only continues to cause further issues.
Right.
And then you get in this situationship, and then someone else gets their emotions all tied in, and you can't get your emotions tied in because they're somewhere else.
Right.
But when you can move around without having your emotions from this past relationship affect your new relationship or affect you in your new relationship, then go ahead, do what you do.
Right. I mean, my thing is, like you said, people are different, man. You dealing with somebody, especially if you're dealing with somebody for years. A lot of times it's not easy to get over somebody. So do you think, say within 10 years or 5 years, let's say 5 years, do you think in 5 years just all of a sudden you can get over somebody, or does it depend on the person? Or have they had something going on all that whole time during that 5 years, and they just jump into another relationship? Do you think that be going on?
For me, it's hard for me to answer that question because I'm a little different.
Okay.
I'm like Black in this. I'm a little different because when we're done, we're done. My emotions are gone. So some say, well, you probably didn't have any those true emotions for that person anyway. Well, hey, all right, maybe you're right. But when I'm done, I'm done. So it's easier for me to move on. So they say weeping may endure for what a day. Mine may take 18 hours.
Right.
So I don't even take a full day.
But usually when it's like that, you knew the relationship was over while you were in it.
Right.
So go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jay.
No, I'm just saying. Well, speaking of that, you know when you are just trying to hold on to a relationship to see if it's going to get better, and that's where a lot of people mess up at. That's where a lot of people waste a number of years, trying to hold on, thinking that it's going to get better, while the whole time you're peeling back your feelings for this particular person that you're in a relationship with.
Right.
So some may be able to recover faster because they already knew the relationship was over with, but for whatever reason, they were trying to hold on to something that had already died.
Right.
And that's where a lot of us make mistakes at.
Right.
And then they'll bring a third party in though, and he'll think that they're going to get together, and then sometimes they run back to that toxic situation.
That's right.
Unfortunately, because they're used to that. A lot of people are uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. I'm okay with being uncomfortable.
Right.
Because when I'm uncomfortable, sometimes that helps me to experience something new to be more comfortable with.
Right.
So you have to be okay with being uncomfortable and going out and find something better for yourself. Because if I wouldn't have left some of my relationships, then I wouldn't be at the point that I am now. You know, it took me a while to get there, but now that I'm there, I'm good. So you have to go through these life experiences to get to the point where you are great with someone, not just good, not just okay, but where you're great with someone. So you can't be scared to let that old stuff go,
Right.
especially one that's not meaning you any good,
Right.
and you know it's not.
What was the quick that you were done with someone? How long did it take you to get over someone? What was the shortest time you can recall?
Well, I mean, it doesn't take me really. It doesn't take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours.
Wow.
Okay. That's just being
okay.
real.
Let me walk the statement up again.
Okay.
Okay. If you with somebody 5 years, y'all done stayed together, loved each other, and y'all break up, you mean to say that it'll take you 24 hours to 24 to 48 hours to get over somebody you've been with for 5 years?
I mean, I've been with somebody for 10 years, and you know, we tried it, and then we went back and tried it again for a couple seconds, just trying to see if something was there. But when we discovered that it was done, I was done.
Do you think it was done? Do you think it was doomed from the beginning? On how you met, how you got in a relationship with this person?
It was doomed from, well, it could have been reconciled. See, a lot of people, when you accept someone in your life,
right,
and there are going to be some times that you have to forgive for whatever something may have been, right? So I did something in the beginning of our relationship. I didn't disclose some information.
Okay.
And when it was uncovered or unveiled, then I was like, look, you know, this really doesn't affect our relationship like that. So let's move forward and not let it cause an issue, but it continued to cause an issue. So, and that just kept going and going and going and going. So when we got to the point of where we were saying, okay, we're done, then it didn't take me long to move on from that relationship. Did I think about him from time to time? Yep, I thought about him from time to time, but that's as far as it went.
Right. Well, how long in that particular relationship? How long was it? Was it a month? How long was it that you say, man, when I'm speaking of singleness of heart, it don't affect you. You don't get butterflies in your stomach when you see them. You just disconnected. You don't think about them and get emotional when you think about it. How long did it take you to get to that stage?
I mean, that didn't take long at all either. I mean, I saw him at church. I was like, I spoke, hey, you know, it didn't bother me. I could see them with someone. I could see them with somebody else. I could have seen them with somebody else 2 days after we broke up. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. It doesn't bother me because when I'm done, I'm done. When it's over, it's over. When we have come to the conclusion that our relationship is over, then I'm cool with it.
What if you have doubts that it's over?
What'd you say, Black?
What if you have doubts?
Doubts about what?
That it's over.
I mean, why would I have doubts?
You're not sure if it's over.
Why would I not be sure if it's over? Once we make the statement that it's over, it's over.
So your heart cut off instantly.
It can, yes.
Okay, so you don't think that's an issue?
Yeah, it's an issue. It's been an issue, but see, what you have to if you know yourself,
Okay.
I know myself from way back when. I grew up with me.
Right.
So so I know that I had some emotional. I was always able to disconnect emotionally because I had to do that as a defense mechanism as a child.
Right. Right.
So I was able to disconnect emotionally really quick. So that's why, you know, a lot of people have a whole bunch of friends from high school, college, and with me, military. I didn't carry those along with me because I don't get emotionally attached to certain people.
Wow. Wow. So
So
you don't do you think you, man, that's heavy. Okay, so it came out of your childhood that you this way?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It came out of childhood, and it just continued to build as I grew older and had these different experiences in my life.
Right. Wow. Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
heavy, man.
so don't get me wrong. I'm able to love and be in love. I'm at that point now, but I'm also able to disconnect when something does not work.
And you're not the type to maul over, chew over,
Nope,
stalk, hide
nope,
in the bushes.
nope.
Black, what Black? What's your experience?
I'm similar to him. Once it's over, it's over. Once I'm done, I'm done. And I asked him about what if it's in doubt because I was out of a relationship. Everybody had said it's over, but the closure, as I call it, wasn't quite there. A lot of times, when you try to move on without closure, you end up right back in that relationship.
What's closure, Black? What define what closure? What is closure to you?
Like when Austin said, when they established together that it was over,
Hmm.
that's that closure.
Right.
If it's
Right.
like a sudden breakup, that's different.
What type of breakup?
A sudden breakup is different.
Sudden breakup.
Yeah,
Okay. So with the sudden breakup, you need that closure.
sometimes.
Okay.
With me, I don't really concern myself about closure because if the closure was it ended for me.
Right.
You know, I can speculate on why it ended or what if, and I'm not going to dwell on that because that can drive a person insane trying to wonder what if I would have did this or if I would have done that. No, I mean it ended because it was supposed to end.
Right. Right.
And if it's
Wow.
supposed to come back, then it'll come back around.
Right. Right.
But that part of it is dead and gone. So you cannot sit around and mull over, cry over. That's why there are a number of murders and murder suicides on people that have been in relationships and they feel like they can't move on.
Right.
You have to be able to accept that this person just was not for you. There's
Right.
probably someone else out there for you. But if you kill them or you kill yourself or both of you all, you will never find out.
Right. Right. Right.
So you have
Man.
to keep living for your next life experience.
Right. You're right. Yeah, I agree with that, man. A lot of people, I'm not gonna say a lot of people, but I know some people will kill people because if I can't have you, nobody can't have you. And not understanding is it's a lot more fish in the sea. And people can't take, a lot of times people can't take the changing routine. Or they're in a situation where they depend on this person for a living situation. And that's all they got. I think, Black, you wrote something about on breakup and someone break up. Could you hear me?
No, you were out for a second.
No, I said Black was saying that it hit different when somebody break up with you and you depend on them. I forgot to quote the exact quote, but sometimes people just depend on other people and they don't want them to leave. They probably have a place to stay. The person they with got a place to stay, and here it is. You want to break up with me, or you just obsessed with that person.
And see, and that's what I've always said. If you have your own, you don't have to worry about when they're gone.
Right. Right.
So that's why I don't. Me personally, again, we've had this conversation. I don't believe in that work, stay at home wife or whatever, because it's no guarantee that your relationship is going to last, and you need to have your own in the event that something occurs. If you
Right.
if you don't have your own, then you're leaving yourself open for a put down or a let down if the relationship ends. And you cannot you should be able to trust the person that you're with.
Yeah.
But when you get into those relationships sometimes that you can't really trust that person, but you still get into it. So you need to have your own in the event something occurs. You're leaving yourself liable. Liable is not the word I'm looking for. But
vulnerable.
You leave yourself vulnerable, right? You leave yourself vulnerable and open for a lot of issues and concerns if that person leaves.
Right.
I mean, I preach that all the
that's
time.
good.
A man needs to have his own.
And I preach all the time that a woman needs to have her own too.
But like they say, a woman can get away with staying at home with her mom. A man can't.
I see Richard's
Right.
statement down here. I can't put a time frame on it, because in that one year, I may miss what's actually out there for me. So I'm not gonna take that time like that. If I'm a date, I'm a date. I don't necessarily have to get into a relationship. So if I'm a date, I'm going to date.
Right.
So
that's
just what it is.
Yeah, Dave Salisbury said until he get it together with himself. Sometimes we can some of us can get in relationships and not over the last person. And you still got feelings for the last person, but what you call it, a rebound? When you break up with somebody and you just hurry up and get with somebody else, it's just a rebound. And now you setting this person up that you get in a rebound.
Well, that's
you
why
setting this person up for hurt.
Well, no, that's why you have to be.
Want to be there.
That's why you have to be open and honest. You have to be open and honest with yourself and the person that's coming along. You let them know, look, hey, you know what? I'm just getting out of a relationship. I'm not ready for a relationship, but we can date, we can kick it, or whatever it is you desire to do. But you have to be honest and open with them and yourself, and you also have to know yourself, and be okay. You have to be okay with being alone. And a lot of people aren't okay with being alone. They have to have someone.
Right.
But when you're okay with being alone, and then something just comes to you, then you can move forward with that, because you're okay in the place that you're in. You don't need a rebound.
Right. That's right. What you thinking, Black?
I mean, I'm listening to Austin. Everything he's saying, it's falling in line.
Right.
But like I say, 8 times out of 10, the relationship's ending. And once it's kind of on his last leg, a lot of people start noticing other people.
Right.
Because you about to be out of it. And like he say, some people don't like being alone.
Right.
So they go from one relationship to the next relationship, move someone in. Because they don't like being alone.
Now that's the part that you have to avoid. Now moving someone in your space or moving into someone else's space, because when you're the person that don't like to be alone, that's one way not to move. You need to stay by yourself. And when I say stay by yourself, I mean physically stay by yourself.
Right.
And again, you can still date, you can still hang out, but you need to have your own self established before trying to bring someone else in, or you moving in with someone else. You need to really establish an emotional relationship with that person where it
Right.
seems that it's going somewhere. You know, so a
Right.
lot of people try to
Right.
jump in these situations, jump in and show that I can do it by myself, I can make it, and they end up doing something financially that's going to hurt them. You know, if you know
Right.
you can't,
Right.
if you know you can't afford anything but an $800 a month apartment, then don't go out and get a $1,600 a month apartment.
Right.
Stay
Right.
within your means,
Right.
so you don't have to bring someone else in to help you out financially. And now you stuck, rather than being in an emotional relationship, an emotional supported relationship, you're in a financially supported relationship, which never ends well.
Right. Let me ask this: what signs do you know? Just each of you, what signs do you know the relationship is about to end? What do you look for?
So
Jay, what
me,
you look for when you know it's ending, or any one of you?
Well, the first thing you start noticing is disrespect. So that could be doing things that you have agreed upon. They're not being done the same way, or that person staying out later, or that person on the phone with somebody else. Oh, that's just my friend. When this is a new friend and y'all haven't done this before. When you start fighting, when you start fighting in a way that is disrespecting the relationship and calling each other out your name, when there's physical combat or mutual combat on each other, those
Right.
things you start to realize that this relationship is done. There's no respect. There's nothing there that would hold us together. And you just don't have that feeling for that person anymore, where
Right.
you just light up when they see you, or when you come home, you just want to sit in the garage, you know, and be like, damn, I got to go in here. I don't want to go in here, you know. So you end up sitting in the garage for an hour playing on your phone or listen to music. Or when you're in the bed and instead of holding each other, now y'all turning your back towards each other.
Right. Wow. Black, what's the signs that you see that you like, man? Look, hey,
like you said,
it's time to get on out.
number one, it'd be the disrespect. Then communication gets short. Then you would probably don't spend as much time together.
Right.
Everything on the phone now.
Or better yet, when you hate spending time together, when it's a chore to spend time together,
it's time to move on.
it's time to move around. It's time to move around, or time to reevaluate your relationship with that person.
Do you think people can bounce back when a relationship get to that stage? If they work on, if they want to put the work in and say, man, I don't want to lose this person. I love this person.
Well,
do you think that they can get
you
over?
really have to identify, what do you mean? You really have to identify, do I really not want to lose this person because of what? Because I love them? Well, if I love them, then I wouldn't have been treating them this way or doing them this way, or they wouldn't have been treating me this way or doing me this way. So is it really love?
Right.
Or do I not want to leave them because I'm comfortable being in this toxic situation?
Right.
And I've grown comfortable being in this toxic situation, and it's become a way of life. It's normalized for me. So
Right,
you have to
right.
identify the reason that you want to stay in this relationship. And that person has to have the same reason that they want to stay in a relationship. You can work at something all day, but if you're not working together for the same common goal, then it's not going to work.
Right, 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 right. That's real. That is real. That is so real. That you when you're dealing with someone, man, and if only one person working to make it work, it ain't gonna work. Um, when you get to that part of falling out of love, how does that feel? What type of what was your experience, either one of y'all, on the falling out of love part, and how did you do to say, hey, I'm getting ready to move on? Was it a did you do it in phases? How did you do? Did you go, I'm finna go ahead and move, I'm finna get away from her? How did you do it when you knew it was over with and y'all fell out of love? How was that experience? How did you handle that?
And as soon as you see that it's not working, that's when you should mentally, especially a real man, start prepping for the breakup.
Right.
Well, and first you have to be in love to fall out of love. That's the first thing. So maybe you just love this person, but you weren't in love with this person.
Right.
But
Right.
so when you start seeing these certain things, these certain behaviors change within the other person and within yourself, then communication, you still have to try to communicate. And you communicate, look, I'm feeling this way. And then they express how they're feeling. And then you can come to a mutual decision on what you want to do. And that's where you can avoid some of these issues or concerns that you have during breakups.
Right.
Now, if you got some crazy joker out there that you tell them you want to break up and they end up want to kill you, man, at that point you might want to just strategize with your exit plan.
Right. Do you think sometimes people just break up, the relationship can get out of control and it can be fixed because it was a misunderstanding? Do you think a lot of times people just break up off of misunderstanding? It ain't, I'm contentious with this person, I hate this person. They just don't know how to handle conflict. Do you think that plays a part as well?
It can play a part. And again, that's where communication comes in. And sometimes you have to bring in a third party, like a counselor, to assist in trying to bridge the communication gap.
Right.
So if you're able to do that, communication is key to any relationship, and especially one that you're sharing in a emotional and intimate relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of issues can be avoided if you talk. If you talk to each other and you listen to each other.
Right.
If you're arguing and you're just spouting back and forth, nothing is going to get resolved because you're trying to win a fight.
Right.
But if you're communicating and you're having a conversation, you're trying to meet a goal.
Right.
And that goal is understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start to apply that in your relationship, and not all. And one thing in relationships, when people start to feel attacked,
right,
in certain conversations, when you tell them, when a person tells you that they don't like this or they don't like that, they start to feel attacked.
Right.
And that's one thing that you can't do. You have to be able to have thick skin and listen to what that person is saying. Right. And again, if you're not able to do that, or if that person cannot properly articulate what they're trying to say, then you need to bring in a third party that may be able to assist with the communication gap.
Right. Blake, what you thinking on it, man? Do you think it's a lot of times it's just misunderstanding, the person don't know how to communicate with another individual?
I mean, that could be one. There's like
but a lot of times, what you think it is from from based on what you've seen?
Yeah, I say it's mostly communication,
Okay.
lack thereof. You know, when you know it's over, so that's why I say it depends on that individual. If you know
Right.
it's over and you don't like being alone, that person's gonna prepare,
Right.
and they can move on without closure or whatever because it was established within the relationship that it's over. It wasn't no you read a text message, you caught him cheating, none of that. You know, y'all just it went its course.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Yeah,
so,
man. And
yeah, that's what make the question complicated because if it was the love was gone and dead while in the relationship, it's okay to move on.
right.
Um,
Right.
and a lot of them do. But you have to. I always say if you can imagine being with somebody else, imagine them doing what you guys used to do with somebody else. Once you can see that in your mind and it don't bother you, that's when I feel like you're ready to move on.
Say that again, Black. You say when you can see them with somebody else, or you see yourself with somebody else.
No, them. When you can see
Okay.
them with somebody else and
Yeah.
it don't bother you at all, you just sitting there like, okay.
Yeah.
Or you can hear somebody say, "Hey, she talking to Jonathan," and you be like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
That's when you're ready. But if they say Jonathan, then you sitting there like, "Man, why is she talking to him?" That lane, you're not over that person,
Right.
and whoever else you talk to can end up being that rebound person that loses in the end.
Yeah.
Right.
I've seen that happen so many times.
Yeah. I had this relationship one time. And the girl and I, she still wanted to be together and I didn't. But we shared living space. But it was a 2-bedroom. She stayed in one room and I stayed in the other. And so she started kicking it with my little partner at the time. And I was like, I don't care. I'm cool. But when I had somebody over, she beating on the door talking about, girl, you used to do me like that too. And the wildest thing was I came home one day and my bed was made up real nice. And the thing was, I pulled back the cover and she had smeared menstrual blood all over the sheets.
Oh man.
So
yeah,
I had to hurry up and get out that situation. But yeah, so I was able to let go. And I didn't care. And my homeboy was in there kicking it with her. He'd come over to my room and we'd sit down and chop it up. I didn't care.
Yeah, that's
so and like I said, when I'm done, I'm done. I can see you with whoever. It doesn't bother me. So you trying to weaponize your pussy against me, it doesn't work because I don't care.
Right. So she'll bring your friend over to the house?
Yeah.
Your homeboy. So your homeboy, did he give you a heads up of what's going on? And he came in? Because, I mean, it's just certain. Was he really your home? I mean, it's just certain codes.
Well,
men live by.
We were cool. We would hang out every now and then. You know what I'm saying? We were cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, and, but I mean, it didn't bother me. I didn't care.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's heavy. Black, what Black, what you thinking?
Like I say, Austin, we think a lot alike when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like you say, if it's they moved on so fast, it's within inside that relationship, man. I've seen, where you have to wait it out to get them out your system.
Right.
but it's each individual. But emotions can get out of hand, with that breakup within the first, maybe I'm gonna say 1 to 5 months, maybe. Because
Right.
if they're out your system, you know what I'm saying? You're not thinking about them anymore. How you know if they're still thinking about you? And these days, you can possibly put someone else in harm's way if you don't wait, or
Right.
So
Well,
it's getting
right.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
getting crazy now. The way we used to do it, I don't think, I think it's slightly changing now. That's why we see an increase of domestic violence and things like that, because people don't want their feelings and emotions toyed with.
Right. Yeah, man, emotions is intense, man.
It may not be safe to date immediately after a breakup.
Well, if again, you have to assess who you're with, and sometimes the person can have a psychotic break after an emotional trauma from a breakup.
Right.
But you tend to you're and most of the time you already know that this person can go to that level.
Right.
Because there has already been some type of indication, not in all cases, but in most cases, there's already been some type of red flag that has been presented to show that this person can go to a violent level.
Right. Man, so how would you deal with a person when you know this person is this way? How would you deal? Would you steal away? Would you kind of slide back when you know you got this type of situation on your hand? Because people can mask themselves, and then you surprised, like, damn, they wasn't like this in the beginning, but this is who they are. So how would you deal with it if you're dealing with a situation where that person will do some damage?
Well, that's when you have to
Have you been
strategize
in a situation like that? Yeah, have you been in a situation?
Well, I mean, I've been in some crazy situations, but not to that extent. But
Okay.
you have to strategize on how you're going to exit your situation.
Okay.
And you have to start doing this months in advance. You have to identify where you're going to stay, changing your information. You can't be listing yourself on Facebook and all that stuff. You have to start shutting down your social media. You have to find a way. Well, police and restraining order, yeah, that don't help all the time. But you have to make yourself invisible from that particular person.
Yeah. Sound like you a pro, Jay. Sound like you done this more than one time.
No,
the way you laid the play out. The way you laying the play out.
No, I mean it's just that I mean, I haven't changed my number in a number of years. I mean, I still have the same phone number. I don't worry about that as much because I believe in, and I only had my my property damaged one time when I broke up with somebody and they found out where I stayed. But and I didn't properly transition out of that relationship. But if you properly transition out of your relationship, then that's why I say you won't have those type of issues.
Right.
So you have to be able, when you start finding out a joker crazy, then you need to start trying to figure out how you're going to get away and make yourself invisible for whatever time period.
What if you work? What if y'all have the same workspace? You work at the same place?
That's stupid because I mean,
it's
all right.
Real, though. It's real.
I've dated people that I worked with before, and I soon after left the job, But it's dangerous getting into these workplace relationships,
right?
Because if something does go wrong, they know where you're at every day.
Right.
They know your schedule every day. You have to see them when you go in that building.
Right.
So they might meet you in the parking lot, but you might not make it in the building. So you have to be very cautious when you get into these workplace relationships, even the extramarital workplace relationships, to make sure that you protect yourself so you're able to become invisible.
Right. Right. Yeah, man. That's real black. How would you do the play?
I watch the situation. I'm a watcher.
Right.
And so you sit back and, like Austin say on previous podcasts too, you just sit back and watch, and you will have the signs.
Mhm.
And once you see them, if you want to try to establish that relationship, that communication come in hand.
Right.
But a lot of times they'll say, okay, they can work on it, they'll work on it, and often don't.
Right. Right.
And like I say, and as a real man or woman, you're taught to put your defense up and supposed to be able to prep yourself
Mhm.
to deal with situations.
Right.
And yeah, you gotta prep yourself, sit back, and trust the process and make sure it's over though. That's the key thing. I've seen so many think it's over, but they run back. That's the
Right.
biggest thing. That's why, and that's why I would say try being single, because you never know how that person that you broke it off with, where their mental state is.
Right. Right.
It's
Right.
just
You're
dangerous.
right. Breakups can be painful, man. Breakups can be painful, man, and people can have that breaking point. You can be that last straw of breaking up with somebody. You could just be that person, and that person just go haywire because you broke up with them. And it can be a dangerous thing. Even do you all? I know Jay, you, because that's different for me. You just get over them. It don't take you long, but a cooler. So when you in the next, so how long do it take you to get to the next person? Okay, you over this person, but how long do it take you to get to the next person?
It just depends.
Okay.
It depends on what the environment is. It depends on if I feel like talking to somebody at that point, And when I say talking to somebody, meaning if I feel like going out flirting and bringing and getting a number and start that whole process. It just depends. It could be the next day, or it could be the next month.
Right. Man, yeah, that's pretty heavy, man. Just dealing to relate. A lot of times people just need that time and they just don't want to admit it. Like we said earlier, people don't want to be by themselves. And I think a lot of times people not being by themselves, they make some bad decisions of people. We had see plenty of stories of people getting killed behind people that say they love them, but they kill them. Because if I can't have you, nobody can have you. And life shouldn't be that way. So
yeah, see, and that's not love, that's obsession.
That's obsession, man. And you dealing with somebody, man, that you will murder behind them not, wanting to be with you anymore. Do you when you meet somebody, do you think those signs are there at the very beginning, or like you said, we said this in previous podcasts, we kind of ignore those flags, but sometimes they can be hidden very well, and circumstances can come out of, can come up to bring it out of them. A Leviathan, that's something that's inside of you that can just burst forth, and you never knew it was there. It just took some time for it to come out.
Well, so that's why you have to spend time trying. You have to spend time to get to know this person.
Right.
So, how long is enough time? I said anything a year or whatever. You just can't get into a relationship and start to move like you've been together for years, meaning moving the person in, this, that, and whatnot. You need to spend time. You need to find out about their history. You know what I'm saying? You identify who their friends are. You watch how their friends move.
Right.
So it's a lot of things that that people just don't think about when going into a relationship.
Right.
You just think about that P or that D. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And in the beginning, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you have to do.
Yeah, because it's new. It's new.
Yeah, exactly. But then you have to. But when you start moving into the emotional part, moving out of just the physical part, and then moving into the emotional and physical part of a relationship, you need to start identifying some stuff about that person. You need to start watching how they move. You need to talk about their past. You need to hear some stories. Girl, you remember when you was dating Johnny and then y'all broke up and you told that nigga call up. Boy, you knew that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you listen to these things.
Right.
And then, if you got somebody that drinks, then sometimes that brings on a whole nother type of personality.
Oh yeah.
So you're able to see some things in that.
Right. Yeah, that's real, man. It could take some time, man, just to really see the real person that you're dealing with. It could take some time. For the cooling off period, sometimes people just need a little time. But like you said, they go out and date. It ain't nothing serious. I think that do you think it's important just to let somebody know, hey, man, I just got out of a relationship. I'm not really ready to do this. Do you think it's good to disclose that to somebody? Yeah. Or it ain't nobody business?
No, I mean, and that's what I said earlier, that you need to disclose that because you need to let that person know what your intentions are. And if they choose to enter into this life experience with you, then that was their choice. But you let them know up front. There was no deception. No lying. Look, hey, you know what? I just broke up with my girl. We was in a relationship for whatever time. But hey, I'm ready to move on. And right now, I don't want a relationship, but we can date, we can kick it, whatever that looks like for you, and we'll see where it goes.
Right. So what is your conversation based on what you telling us? You have told us. What's your conversation when you meet the next one? And you fit a date, or do you say I just got out of a relationship? What do you do? Do you treat it like it's a fresh relationship? How do you treat it?
Well, I mean, I'm just me anyway. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I like to do certain things. So if I'm kicking it with somebody, and if I'm just kicking it with them, then they are a benefactor of what I like to do. Right. So if I'm coming out of a relationship, I'd be like, look, you know what? I just, got out of this relationship and I'm not really looking to do anything serious right now. So we can kick it. I was like, it ain't got to be sex. It ain't got to be none of that, which, I mean, it ended up being that way anyway. But we don't have to have sex or whatever. We can just kick it, be cool. You can come through. We can watch TV, do whatever, go out, whatever, and we'll make it however it is, whatever you're comfortable with. I always say whatever you're comfortable with.
Right.
And if you're uncomfortable with something, let me know.
Right.
And we can slow it down.
Right. Black, what's your thoughts on it, man?
Basically, all the things Austin hit, I'm like, man, he said that.
Right.
So he nailed them. But like you say, communication is that major key.
Yeah.
And the moving on, like someone had posted, it's the making sure they're over, and many of us don't do that when it's a solo relationship. But today you barely have this, that you got to always have that distraction now.
Right.
And that distraction, and then once you get distracted, that can also lead to the breakup. It's just so much with this dating world, especially now being that social media plays a part.
Man, it's crazy out here, man. It's crazy out here. Is Boosie said it best. He said, man, he said social media messed relationships up. He said he said your girl dealt with you, the guys on their job, the guys that came to your house, and that's all she dealt with. Or she went to the store. She said now she's dealing with 10, 20,000 men on social media that's in her inbox. And so in me and vice versa. So do you think you think you can get a sustainable relationship into the way to in the social media age? You think you can get a sustainable relationship with somebody?
Yeah, but if you get the person with the right mindset, everyone's not going to be in that.
But people want ego. People want ego. That people, it's in the nature of human being to get their egos fed.
Some people, but
so if you don't like your ego fed,
you
don't like your ego fed.
If you are feeding that person all the time and where they're always full, whatever else comes up,
right,
it's not gonna matter.
Right.
It depends on the mindset of the person that you're with.
Right. Wow.
See, a mature woman see appreciation.
Right. You said she see appreciation.
Yeah. This is not something that you have to do.
Right. Man, social media can be social media has its challenges. How were you able to, either one of y'all, how were you able to navigate? Do you just let yourself go? Some people probably don't feel secure when they girl on social media. Say a guy's got a girl, she on social media. How do you handle just dealing with somebody that probably is heavy on social media? How do you deal with that?
He's saying, Austin, I think he's saying heavy on social media where the communication between the two of them.
Yeah, they talking. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean,
because we don't care about none of them being on no social media because that's out there.
I don't experience. I haven't experienced that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me. Okay. So I was like,
So you think it's the younger crowd, or do you think it's within our age group, or do you think it's the younger crowd really being affected?
It's all over. I mean, it's all over. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you have some younger people with a mature mentality, and then you have some older people with an immature mentality. So age doesn't matter in this situation.
Right.
So you have to find the right person at the right time with the right mentality.
Right. Yeah, that's real, man. So we didn't got, because we about to land the plane. We didn't got some real talking. And just want to thank everybody for just commenting. My boy Richard Bailey, Tommaso, I see you. A few other people that commented on here. Mr. Salisbury, let me see what his name is. David Salisbury. Want to appreciate you for commenting. Man, we just been having a good talk, dealing with relationships and how long you should kind of do that rest period between relationships. Now, Jay said, he kind of get over it and just move on. I just believe that you should have singleness of heart and be fair with the next individual. If you're not over this person, it's good. I had to learn the difference between being in a relationship in this world, what they call dating, where it's kind of a trial period, 30-day trial period on some software or whatever, or what you have. So you kind of give it time to see if there's something you want to do. But the way people things and people are nowadays, you kind of, you got to kind of, make your own discernment on how you're going to expound and deal with people in this world when you're dealing in relationships with someone. Jay, do you have any last comments, man? Because we about to land this plane, man. I see the runway right now.
Well, all I have to say is, and we keep preaching this, both Black and I, communicate your breakup.
Right.
We talk about communication all the time. So if you communicate and you break up the right way, then you won't have a lot of the issues that people have when they break up.
Right.
And you know when the right time is to move on with someone else.
Right.
And you know the right reason to move on with someone else. So if you don't have the right reason, then you're going to find yourself back in another breakup.
Right. Yeah,
All right,
that's
Black.
real, man. Black.
Just make sure that the feelings are gone before you jump into another relationship. And
Right.
so that like Austin, a day, me 3 days, maybe a week. That second week for sure. You just got to make sure they're out your system. And some people it takes longer, but these days you don't want to, with everything that's going on, playing with someone's emotions. I feel like it's the last thing you need to do. So one guy put on there, as soon as you changed a lot. So that means it wasn't, your emotions wasn't in the relationship to begin with. So that's why it's going to vary from individual, the answer on that. But the key thing is, like he said, communicate. Once you see it's over, do not move on to the next till you get that person out of your system if they were ever in your system. Because today we date without feelings. So, they together without feelings. So, yeah, that's what I say. Just make sure that person and you are done. And with that, we can land.
Right. For sure. Man, we just want to thank everybody for coming out, for listening. Man, that commented. We appreciate you, man. To speak on the staff, to speak on the team, D Black, Jay Austin, and me, Phantom J, man. We just want to thank everybody, man, for that. I forgot to mention to y'all about and we're gonna let it go, about Pastor Jamal Bryant. He want to get into the cannabis business. A pastor want to give Black men jobs in farming cannabis, meaning farming weed or marijuana. We'll have to talk about that some other time. The way the world is really off the chain. The way the world is, man. So things are kind of different. And I failed to mention that about Pastor Jamal Bryant want to do the weed and have get in the cannabis business. I don't know no Christian preacher that would do something like that. But hey, to each his own. So we just want to thank everybody, man.
From the earth, man.
Yeah, it's from the earth. But we got to understand again, cannabis, that it has healing properties, but the level of THC is only 1%. But what you got on the street is 30, 15 to 20 to 30, 40% THC. That's opening your brain up. So we got to see what God wanted, what man had made. But with that, man, we want to thank everyone, man. Black, take us out.
It's happening, so we might as well speak on it. I'm out.
And that's what we did, and we spoke on it. Peace.
Yeah.